Today on Alvarez TV, we're looking at the all-new Yairi, especially the bracing. Why did we change it, and what those changes mean to our tone? Please join us to find out more. Sounds great.
It sounds great. I love it. We were all over the place there. It doesn't matter.
I made a mistake at the end.
It doesn't matter about it.
Well, 3 chords, but not easy, man. It's like weighted, isn't it? It's like that Irishy kind of thing.
Yeah. It was like waiting for the next phrase to come and like just holding back.
Yeah, where's my strumming?
There's a bit of Celtic vibes going on there, wasn't it?
We do have friends.
We do.
Well, I think.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
How you doing?
Welcome to a good show. We're happy campers here.
We are, yes. What
are we doing today, mate?
The prodigal sons have returned.
They have indeed.
It's been on such a journey, though. From Japan to England to Nam, back to England.
No,
we're in
St. Louis.
Yeah, Dallas.
Nashville.
We
are talking about the Yairis. So we made our film, Sam did, who's behind the camera, about the new Yairis. And then they went on this big journey because we were hugely backordered and we were trying to make stuff. We had like one of each, and they came here, they went to the States, went around the States, they came back here. And eventually we've had time to kind of review them.
Yeah.
Of which you've had loads of questions.
We have had a lot of questions and a couple of concerns.
Because
there's been a change or two. And I thought maybe we could just have a bit of a chat about that and just and let people know what's been going on.
Yeah.
I have to say, they sound great.
They sound great. You know, these models, you know, we've got 5, all the new Hondurans here, a couple of OMs, Dread and a GA and a Parla. And some of the emails we've had, it's like, what have you done? Why have you done it? And even some disappointment, which I totally get and appreciate. Or even as players, you evolve, or in your job or your life or whatever. You know, you evolve, you learn stuff, and you keep moving forward. And I think as product developers, especially guitar makers, like you should always do that, you know? Just because maybe you do something which is really good, it doesn't mean it has to stay that way forever.
Of course. Development's important.
It is, yeah, and you want to change. You know, that's why we're in these positions. And I think it's probably even harder for more like legacy things, like Martin, for example, who've got all of that legacy. And when they want to change or develop new stuff, it's like, well, what do we do with the past? You know, and they do bring that back in different ways. But for us, we don't have such a long legacy, of course. You know, we had FST2, and we have been happy with it, the bracing system FST2 for a long time, and we wanted to move on.
Just for the viewers at home, can you give us a bit more background on what FST, because you changed that. I remember you telling me about a conversation with Mr Yairi probably, 12, 14 years ago or something?
Something like that, yeah.
And you went in and you actively changed
the bracing. So I felt as though there was a need in the market. People, you know, it's such an informed, you know, guitar players are so well informed these days. It's like, you know, you talk about tone and resonance and response and all those things and frequencies, and you know, we all know a lot about this stuff. And 15 years ago we knew less, or certainly less people knew less. Where many luthiers and progressive luthiers knew more, and people shared that knowledge. I politely went to see Mr Yairi and I said, could we revisit some things? And because for me, I think the US market about 15 years ago, they were just wanting more bass response, maybe a bit of a lighter build. He graciously said, yeah. I was very nervous asking him, actually. It's like, who am I to ask him? And
how did he respond to that, by the way?
He stopped the meeting and he picked up the phone and he talked to somebody. And then there was like 4 of us in the room, and I thought, what's happening? And then the next thing, all of the people came in the room. So everybody from the factory, we all came in. We have an office like sort of showroom upstairs. And Mr Yairi went out and he just talked in Japanese and to everybody. And I got some of it translated to me. And he basically said, you know, Chris Sands brought some ideas. We're going to investigate things. We're going to try new stuff, and completely supported everything.
Amazing.
And off we went. And that like opened these floodgates of development in the factory. There was many sort of suggestions and things put forward with regard to bracing systems.
Right. And
I had my ideas, and other people had their ideas, and FST2 was a mix of that. And there was one, so when I went back 3 months later, there was all these tops and guitars and like different bracings, and like it was just like this hive of sort of development. And there was one top which was braced, just a top by itself with braces on. And I looked at it and I said, so it had my X, but the tone bars are different. And I said, where did this come from? And I think it was Yuki said, we just played around with some things. And I said, well, why did somebody think this is, and it just looked right. I can't describe it, D. So it had those asymmetric tone bars. So one was scooped and the other one was peaked in the middle. So one was like, had the mass in the middle, the other one was scooped in the middle. They were doing the opposite things. And I said, why did you do this? And they said, it just felt right, you know, the tension, tapping, all that sort of stuff. And lo and behold, so we had just names like FST1, FST2, FST3, and then it was like, we had things for middle shifted, back shifted, and FST2 was a forward shifted type 2. And that's what was written on the top in Sharpie. And there was all these tops and bits of bracing and guitars, like with bits of Sharpie, with Sharpies.
And it was forever known as FST2.
Yeah, it was forever known as FST2. We moved forward with that. We've had a great, probably 10 years with it or something, 10 years, and we loved it. And then, you know, Yuki, who's the factory director, we do a lot of chatting and thinking, and I had some ideas about developing some bracing on the smaller bodies and bringing some ideas in on the larger bodies, the Grand Auditoriums and the Dreadnoughts, and we tried different things. We tried different weights of braces. This is called FST6, and it basically just means that we were using an 8mm brace. We're using now a 6mm brace.
Okay.
but we've shaved them differently, and they're slightly different placement. Smaller bodies, some have one tone bar, some have two, bigger bodies have two. But we kept the heavier weight braces for the GA and the Dreadnought for the X, but we lined up the tone bars, and then we lined up the X on the OM and the Parlor.
Right.
So we've never done that before. Like that was like we're developing bracing approaches differently for different shaped guitars, which is right?
Mm-hmm, of course.
You know, when you think about it, we made the samples, we did some tweaks, and we're sitting there thinking, whoa, we really love it. And you're also thinking, well, you know, we've had this other FST2 for long. It's time to move on. So we built a load of samples, took them to St. Louis. We've got a room full of players. We're sitting around, and we just, you know, that's the good part of your job is you sit around, play guitar, and you think, have we done the right thing?
So what were you hearing when you got those samples back? How did it manifest itself tonally?
So, you know, first of all, for me, I will say for me it's an improvement.
Right.
And an improvement in a way that there's a broader frequency response. You know, as we've said before, it's always a balance between strength and vibration. So if you lighten up the sound box, which is basically what we've done, with some other little tweaks, you're going to free up the bass frequencies a bit more. Some people with really good ears may say, that there might be a tiny bit lost in the trebles. I don't think we did. Maybe, you know, if there's more structural integrity there, maybe you're on the FST2, which had more structural integrity, especially in the small shapes. Maybe there's more sustain. But for me, as a general design that ticked many boxes in a really strong way, FST6 did it for me. It just widened that frequency. But you play it against an FST2, and FST2 and all the Hondurans we've made and all the Masterworks, it's a great system. It's a great, great system. It's just we wanted to evolve, move into a slightly different tonal palette. Not to be confused with our Alvarez models, which has FS6, and that's a machine-made bracing system.
Yeah.
It's different. It's a different placement. The peaks and the masses are in different places. It's 6 mil, but it's very different to Yairi. And the FST6 is hand-carved. You know, they're shaped with Japanese chisels and a pair of hands. They're tapped throughout that and listened to. And that happens in all of new Honduran series and Masterworks series in Yairi.
That's incredible, isn't it? They get the top, they're listening, going, I'll just take a little bit more.
Because even though you might have a bunch of 3/8 tops, some are stiffer than others.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
You know,
yeah.
they just are. So that's why we did it.
Okay.
And we're super pleased with it.
But there's also a slight difference in the depth of the OMs.
So in all of this, you know, the GA is new. Well, the GA and the Dreadnought have a nuanced change.
Yeah.
I think the OM and the Parlor have a radical change. And some of that change for the OM is because we made the body depth 5 millimeters wider, which is only kind of like the width of a piece of binding, which is not a lot. But, and that's, like I said before, I mainly did that. I thought, well, it's going to give it more air volume. That'll help drive the top. But I just felt, for my personal aesthetic or whatever my eyes saw. Yeah, more of an
aesthetic. Yeah, I get that.
I just thought it just looked more balanced. But at the same time, it added some air volume. That air volume helped drive a slightly set of lighter struts. The guitar which I'm most pleased with is this one. Like, I think this FYM 60 HD, the new version, like, this is the best, certainly one of the best OMs I've ever played of any brand. I think it's just, I don't say stuff like that very often. And I mean, obviously that works as well.
Yeah, no, they're wonderful. The shame is we don't have any.
We don't have any
We
left.
can't A-B them because they're so, they're just all out there, aren't they?
We sold everything.
Unless we can find somebody.
You know, I went to St. Louis, said, what do you mean? We've got nothing, not even a second or like a sample or anything. Anything in what we use for photo shoots, all gone.
Gone.
So we could go back and we could make some FSD2s and compare them to FSD6. Should we do that? I didn't really want to do that because they're both great sounding and all that sort of stuff. We could do it. But I've already had some correspondence from somebody who has just received their new version and they have the old version and they like both of them.
Ah, okay.
So somebody who writes to me regularly, I think they have about a dozen Yairis.
Sounds like me.
So like you, is it you? Are you a ghostwriter? So FST6 in Yairi, we are still really oversold, and we're trying to increase production in a very careful way.
Of course.
And hope to get caught up, over the next sort of number of months. But new Yairi series. Some of it's in the stores, a lot of it's pre-sold, but if you can get your hands on one, we'd love to hear what you think of them. And
if you have bought a new one and can compare
and
it to your older one, then we'd love to hear
we'd love to hear from you, yeah. But anyway, thanks for bearing with us. Thank you for the questions and the care. And even the people who were slightly annoyed with us, I love that. Like somebody wrote to us and was quite disappointed because he was just about to buy an FST2 built, and it's like, why have you changed? Almost disappointed. I thought, that's such a nice thing to say, really, because they care about it.
Because they're bothered about it.
Yeah, they're bothered about it.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. But I'm sure FST6 will tick all the boxes.
Great stuff. Nice one, mate. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Cheers, everyone.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, click the like button and consider subscribing to our channel. If you want to watch more videos like this one, click the video on the screen now.